So this is an update of my garden in the summer 2019. Oh look, there's I don't know if you see those two. I think they're monarchs playing with each other over there. They're like kind of near the bee balm. I'll try to go a little bit closer, see if we can get a shot of them. So anyways, we have some different flowers blooming, and it definitely looks like two monarch butterflies. We do have butterfly weed and some swamp milkweed, a couple little, and there's a hummingbird right next to it too. Did you see that? Two hummingbirds flew right by the monarch. So, but that's the beauty of having a native and perennial garden, is you get to see a lot of those beautiful creatures. So anyways, we have the perennial box with lantana and heliotrope. Heliotrope and lantana are both good for attracting hummingbirds and butterflies. The sun patience and salvias are huge. We have the butterfly bushes starting to bloom. This is one with white flowers that I got. This one's with like powdery blue flowers. It's kind of weedy, but you know what? It still has flowers, and that's what matters. This is a betony, B-E-T-O-N-Y. This is one of my favorites. I got this at a local garden center. I bought a few of them actually for $8, and they're bigger and stronger than ever, and I've seen bumblebees on these. They really like them. There's another betony over there. There's a, I think, Miss Molly butterfly bush with a bright pink, and this is either a black knight or dark knight butterfly bush with nice lime green foliage and really dark purple flowers. Here's a couple onions that have not bloomed yet. I just pulled a whole bunch of really tall weeds. You see, here's another one of those betonies that wasn't getting any sun. Now it is. One of my favorite flowers, bee balm. I believe these are like 4-footers. The really dark pink one is Jacob's Klein. There's a native coneflower mixed in there. And the light purple one is, I think, the true Illinois native. I think it's just called wild bergamot. So So after we got that beautiful footage of a hummingbird up real close, right when I was just standing here and filming, this is why I love gardening, man. It's just nature. Get a little bit slice of nature, and you're doing a good thing for the planet too. So here's a bumblebee, and did you just see that monarch fly right by? There's a little stem of milkweed that kind of survived and just moved around from when I planted it previously. So I keep trying to film, but I get all these beautiful insects and birds flying right next to me. So this is a native called wild bergamot, and this is Jacob's Klein. I love these because they're great for the back of the garden. They get real tall. They get about 4, even a little bit more than 4 feet tall. So bee balm is definitely something I'm going to have to get more of next year. So we have, if I move over here, some butterfly weed. A lot of it's kind of finished blooming, but there's still some young blooms coming. So this is a great plant for the monarch butterflies. They lay their caterpillars there, and of course bees and butterflies love the nectar. Here's my Joe Pye weed that's just about ready to bloom. I love these little paths I created to kind of designate walking areas. You can actually get back and look at your garden. So there's that. I believe it's a swamp milkweed. This is false sunflower. It's a true native. There's websites you can go to that I'll have in the description that actually tell you if something's a true native. They have lists of all bunch of different kinds of natives. So let's go around here. Yeah, I had to pull a lot of big weeds I checked first to make sure they were weeds. So this is something you might confuse for a weed because it's not really that prickly. It looks prickly. This is actually called Echinops retro. Echinops is related to coneflowers and like black-eyed Susans, things like that. It's retro, R-I-T-R-O. They get like blue globe flowers. Now here's one that hasn't bloomed yet. I actually had to cut a few of the stalks off because some ants were like laying eggs on it, and I was just worried it would hurt the plant, so I cut those off. I don't kill insects unless they're a nuisance, and ants are definitely beneficial for the environment, so there's no reason to be just killing ants. I just kind of move them. There is the asters, New England asters, and one of my favorites, this majestic cup plant, is a true Illinois native. I think the tallest stalks are like 9 feet tall, and they do provide pollen and nectar. And one of the really cool things about cup plants is it can hold water up to a couple days after it rains. So insects and birds, small birds looking for water, can look deep in this crevice and maybe get just a little drink of water that's left over from a rain that might have happened a day or two ago. So that's a really cool plant. It's big and beautiful and majestic. I planted this a couple of years ago, and now it's just huge and so healthy. I planted a patch of coneflower here, different colors. This is the native ones that I transplanted because that area wasn't getting a lot of sun. So then we just added a lot of different various color coneflowers. And the cool thing about coneflowers is they can do well with maybe not full sun. We're talking maybe 4 or 5 hours of sun, and that's about exactly what this gets here. So it was a nice little plant to get like towards the edge of the sunny area of the garden. So, and one of the neat things I like about them is finches will actually, like in the fall time after they've finished flowering, if you leave the flower heads, they'll eat the seed off of the top of the flower head. So that's really cool to have a patch of this kind of further away from the house. You just look outside and watch nature happen. So here's a couple bushes that are 2 of my favorites. Bottlebrush buckeye. These are very more of a wild and woody style bush. This isn't your prim and proper bush you would see in a typical yard, but I just love that sort of thing. As these get taller, you'll actually see like the bare, thick, sturdy roots and stem and branches, and the leaves will be on the top, so you can almost like see through it. Now that's going to be maybe a few years before it does that, but it's a really cool bush. And of course, it provides a lot of flowers in the middle of the summer for your pollinators. So, and I wanted to take a video now in the summer because they only bloom for a couple weeks, most bushes. And here is the button bush that is also in the middle of blooming. It gets round, ball-shaped white flowers. You can see, like here's one that is spent. Here's one that's in the middle of bloom. And then here's a whole bunch of them that just haven't even bloomed yet. So it'll be blooming for a couple weeks. This is another really cool native bush that gets real big and bushy. That's about everything. I could see like tons of hummingbirds and butterflies just while I'm shooting this video. They're just all over the place. Here's some stonecrop, firecracker stonecrop. It's really filling in nice. These bloom like towards the end of summer, providing some crucial late season nectar for bees. And one last perennial that came back. I've heard it was a tender perennial, meaning that maybe it might not come back or it's short-lived, but I'm so happy it came back. This is a Rudbeckia triloba, brown-eye Susan, not a black-eye Susan. So they're related, but this is a really beautiful, interesting color with dark brown centers, kind of really deep orange color with a light orange, dark yellowish tips. Just a beautiful perennial, and it's just barely starting to bloom. You'll see hundreds of blooms on this maybe within a month, so it's going to grow a little bit more, and it's just going to get tons and tons and tons of little flowers. It's an awesome perennial, and bees love it. I've seen a lot of bees on this plant. So that is my garden in summer of 2019. Thanks for watching.